We are a knowledge crowdsourcing platform that produces educational content on entrepreneurship in Asia. Now, what sets us apart from other media companies out there, maybe publications and platforms, is that we outsource pretty much all of our content. We have over 700 people writing for us on a monthly basis, and at the moment we reach about 20 countries as well, doing it voluntarily. So we have a very similar model to Wikipedia, and that's what makes us quite different. Nowadays, obviously, with such a transparent world, a world that is so effectively connected, a lot of people assume that success is pretty much the same metric. I have a similar definition to that of Jinji. So for me, what success is generally is finding your purpose in life and then basically pursuing it. And maybe one day you realize it, and maybe you were successful. So being named on the list for me is not success yet, because I feel like our work is not done. So success for me is being able to effectively fix problems that I see in the world. At the moment, with our organization, we're working on one of them, which is the knowledge gap. And if we can effectively contribute to a substantial extent and people find value in that, then I would think I've been successful. But it's not the case yet. We are doing great work, but we're still working on it. The stamina, really, the fuel, ironically, is just dissatisfaction, I suppose. As pessimistic as that sounds, just being dissatisfied with the way things are and how much better they could be. So for us, really, it's just recognizing that we live in a world where there's just so much avenues for information, for sharing, and yet not enough is being done. And being able to contribute in some way, and sometimes, as I mentioned, getting feedback on that, that is really fuel. It takes away all the low points, it takes away all the pains of actually doing it, just to know that we're actually creating value in some form. That's really what drives us. Ideally, what we're trying to strive for with our organization is really a situation where it's self-sufficient, it's self-running, and really with very, very little intervention from hierarchy, from management, really. And we've been moving really hard towards that. Our ideal sort of model would be something like Wikipedia, which is something that can technically run itself with enough critical mass. Having enough critical mass that we are producing content that is curated as well from the masses and delivered to the masses. Something that is definitely beyond us. So I think this is one of the issues that most young entrepreneurs and maybe even young professionals will face. The fact that when you're dealing with a world that's also full with people who are much older than you, and there's always going to be perhaps doubts about your competency, about whether you're credible as well. The assumption being that with age and with enough time, you have more experience. But at the same time, it's also quite erroneous to just think like that, because first of all, people experience things differently. And it's also erroneous to assume that everyone has the same sort of experiences and the same sort of expertise. Now, we're also talking about people from different generations. Each generation hails from a different time, from a different zeitgeist, and they come from a totally different world. And I think because of that, we do offer a very different perspective. And nowadays, especially in a rapidly changing environment, there are people who are, a lot of businesses who are trying to stay in line with the times. It is quite important to utilize and perhaps approach younger people with different perspectives and really to try and understand things differently as well. I think that's a very important thing. One of the most painful experiences relating to this for me was at the very beginning when we first started, we had zero experience in media, we had zero credibility, we had very little content, and we were just brand new. And we were working on this content sharing deal with this very big publisher in Canada. We bought several tickets to go all the way to Canada to try and work it out, and a lot of money spent on tickets, accommodation, just to do the negotiations. And then finally, after a few weeks, one day we get this rough email and they said that they're not working with us anymore because they thought we're a futile startup and they considered going somewhere else. For us, how we've overcome that, and how personally I've overcome that, really is it takes time. It takes time to build track record. Beyond what we mentioned earlier today about us holding fresh perspectives, actual track record takes time to build, and for us it was quite incremental. We had to, in analogy, capture the small fishes first before we went on to the bigger fishes, and then we use our track record or historic performance to show you the legitimacy and perhaps the credibility of our work. It really takes time, and it takes sincerity. One thing that allowed us to warm the trust of a lot of other stakeholders that we dealt with was just the fact that we were sincere. We admitted what our capabilities were, and we admitted what our shortfalls were as well. Really being sincere as well is one aspect of winning trust. Usually for clients out there, if they sense that you're being insincere, you're trying to put on much more than you can actually take on. That's when they sense something's wrong. It's interesting how, for example, when I was trying to explain certain aspects of technology to my late father, and he just found it really hard to understand. And that is really the fear I have with aging, is the fact that sometimes we get too comfortable with the way things are, and we get too comfortable with our vision of the world, we just start to see it differently. I hope by 50 I'm still doing that, because we've been doing that actually so far with our journey. We started as a print publication, as a magazine, and just continued it since. And to jump on that to crowdsourcing, which is an entirely different model, that was something that required not only reinvention, literally, but the reinvention of perspectives. And I suppose I'm lucky enough to be able to do that, to think out of the box. I hope by 50, we will still be doing something along the same lines of our mission, but perhaps in a more effective way, as more in line with the times as well. So when we first started out, we were, as I mentioned, a print publication and magazine. And truth be told, there was not a lot of data available. I mean, you can't really tell how long a person has read something, who's read it, or their behavior really. But then in digital space, you have all this data. And I think data is really important nowadays, not only for media, for publishing, but also for all businesses, because it really informs you, tells you a lot more about the customer. For us, it really allows us to know what to procure, what to crowdsource, and how to deliver the content to our audiences and really bring them value. And one of the mistakes I think we made was initially when we went from print to digital, we didn't pay too much attention to the data yet. That was something that came further down the line. So that would be something that we do differently, because since doing that, we have been so much more effective in basically delivering our content. So this is one thing we would do differently. The first thing to realize is that there is a lot of potential with Malaysia. If we're talking about business as in startup businesses, usually digital businesses, there's a very big amount of internet users that is growing exponentially year by year. And these internet users, they are getting in tune with online consumption and also using digital services. So there is a big opportunity. But I think for investors, we can't overlook the fact that Malaysia as a startup ecosystem is also relatively still quite young and still quite different from even our neighboring partners, Singapore. Yes, there are growing amount of entrepreneurs here, growing amount of businesses here, and a lot of people starting businesses, but it's still very small now. Statistically, there's only about 3,000 startups in Malaysia out of the million registered companies here. That's less than even 1%. Whereas in Singapore, they have about close to 10% startup companies in ratio to the amount of companies that are actually registered. And this is a very important thing, because there are not a lot of people doing it yet. And also it's reflected in the investment climate. So yes, there are now a lot of venture capital penetration in Malaysia, close to 120 VC firms right now in Malaysia. Yet at the same time, if you look carefully, a lot of the investments that are made for venture capital are usually later stages as well. So you're not seeing a lot of early stage funding. You're going to face the issue of actually trying to raise funds, even though there are a lot of options, but at the same time, it's also quite limited based on the behavior that's here. And then also you have to recognize that Malaysia also has quite advanced regulatory framework as well that you have to deal with. And finally, the market itself is still one that is relatively young, getting used to these new services that are being offered. So adoption and also product service diffusion will also be another challenge. So what I'm trying to say in sum is that, yes, there's a lot of potential here, but I think it's not going to be a very easy journey. And as long as we realize what the obstacles are, I think we can eventually find our successes with our businesses, but it's certainly not as easy as some people paint it to be.